Ryan Preece just got hit with one of the biggest penalties of the year, and fans are losing their minds because Kyle Busch did something that looked just as bad and walked away clean. Same race, same track, same weekend, two completely different endings, and NASCAR is now stuck trying to explain why. So, here is what went down. Sunday at Texas Motor Speedway, the Würth 400, Ryan Preece, the guy in the number 60 RFK Racing Ford, got tangled up with Ty Gibbs early in the race. Gibbs made a hard, aggressive move on Preece going into turn 1 during the first stage. Preece did not like it, not even a little bit. You could feel the heat building from that moment on. A few laps later, the caution came out. And while everyone was riding around under yellow, Preece got on his team radio and let it all out. He said, "What a freaking idiot that kid is. He is so lucky his car is so freaking fast." Then he kept going. He said, "All right, when I get to that 54, I'm done with him. Freaking idiot. He was hot, really hot." He finished the rant by saying, "End of rant, short and to the point," but the words were already out there. Now keep that radio message in your head, because it matters in a big way later. Lap 101. Coming into turn 3, Preece pulls up behind Gibbs and clips his back bumper. Gibbs goes sliding sideways, smashes the safer barrier, and his day is done. He finished 36th. Just like that. One contact and the entire race was over for the number 54 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. Preece did not lift. He did not try to back out of it. He just stayed in the throttle and let the contact happen. And then on Tuesday, NASCAR brought the hammer. They fined Preece $50,000. They took 25 driver points away from him, and they hit him under sections 4.3 and 4.4a of the rule book. That is the part of the rules that covers driver behavior, and it specifically lists wrecking another car on purpose as something you can get punished for. NASCAR did not dance around it. They called it intentional. The penalty knocked Preece down from 12th to 13th in the Cup Series standings. His cushion above the chase cut line used to be 63 points. After this penalty, it dropped down to 38. That is a huge swing this early in the season. RFK Racing has not said yet if they plan to appeal it. The night before the penalty came down, Preece went on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio's Late Shift show. He sat down with the hosts and basically owned what happened. He said, "There are people that you can race with respect around and cut brakes to." He talked about how he learned that lesson a long time ago, when he was a lot younger. Then he got real about Gibbs. He said, "For me it was more along the lines of, he almost, or pretty much, was very close clear getting into turn 3, and I could lift, but I didn't." Preece admitted he had a short fuse with Gibbs because the two of them have had problems in the past. He said, "Could I cut him a break? Probably could have, but I didn't." That right there is basically a confession, and NASCAR was paying very close attention. Now this is where the whole Kyle Busch situation comes in, and this is what has fans so fired up. Late in that same Texas race, on the second to last lap, Kyle Busch, in his number 8 Chevrolet, got into John Hunter Nemechek. Earlier in the race, Busch and Nemechek had already bumped, and Busch's car got some damage from that first run-in. So fast forward to the end of the race. They are running in the top 15. They make contact on the straightaway. Busch hits the wall. Then heading into turn 3, Busch slams Nemechek and sends him spinning. It looked bad. It looked like payback. A lot of fans took one look at the replay and said, that is the same thing Preece did. But NASCAR did not penalize Kyle Busch. Not a single dollar. Not a single point. Nothing. And the question everybody started asking was pretty simple. Why? NASCAR's Vice President of Race Communications, a guy named Mike Forde, went on the Hauler Talk podcast Tuesday to break it all down. He explained how they review these things. He said, "We do look at all available resources, whether that's the video, in-car audio, SMT data. That SMT data is basically telemetry. It tracks stuff like steering input and how the car is moving, second by second. It is hard to argue with the numbers." For Preece, Forde said the radio audio was the big one. He said, and really what this came down to is, Preece said what he said, and then he did what he said. And so in our view, it was intentionally wrecking another vehicle. Pretty simple. He said he was going to do it, then he did it, and the whole thing was on tape. But for Kyle Busch, Forde said the data told a different story. He said, "The SMT data is largely what played a role for us in this decision." Then he brought up something NASCAR's Vice President of Competition, Elton Sawyer, pointed out. Forde said, "Elton Sawyer said the data told us that after the incident, Busch was turning the wheel all the way left just to go straight." Think about that for a second. Busch's steering was so messed up from the earlier damage that he had to turn the wheel completely to one side just to keep his car going forward. NASCAR said that gave Busch what they called a plausible chance that the car had real damage that caused the contact. Not on purpose, just busted equipment doing what busted equipment does. And then Forde added the other big piece. He said, "There was no audio that came out that said, 'I'm going to wreck the 42, and then he wrecked the 42. No threats on the radio. No vow to get even. Nothing on tape that lined up with what happened on the track.'" Even NASCAR's competition strategist Scott Miller looked at the SMT numbers and said the data was not clear enough to say Busch did it on purpose. So that is NASCAR's whole case, in one neat little package. Preece talked about it, then did it. Busch did not talk about it, and his steering was busted. Same review process. Two completely different answers. But Busch is not completely walking away from this either. NASCAR officials said they are still going to sit down with Kyle Busch and Richard Childress Racing leadership. Why? Because this is now the second on-track incident Busch has been in over the last 4 races. Last month at Bristol, he got tangled up with Riley Herbst. So NASCAR is watching the pattern, even if they are not handing out points or fines this time around. Here is something a lot of fans are bringing up too. This Preece penalty is not new territory for NASCAR. Back in 2011, at this exact same Texas track, NASCAR fined Kyle Busch $50,000 and parked him for the rest of the weekend after he deliberately wrecked Ron Hornaday Jr. in a truck race. Busch admitted it back then. He owned it. Then in 2023, Denny Hamlin got hit with the same thing. $50,000 fine, 25 points docked. That came after Hamlin admitted on his own podcast that he intentionally fenced Ross Chastain at Phoenix. So the punishment Preece got? It matches what NASCAR has done before. The dollar amount is the same. The point deduction is the same. The process is the same. The fight is not really about whether Preece deserved it. The fight is about whether Kyle Busch should have gotten something too. And honestly, the rule of the road in NASCAR right now seems pretty clear. If you say it on the team radio, or you say it on a microphone, or you say it on a podcast, you are going to pay for it. If you stay quiet and the telemetry data gives you any kind of cover, you walk away free. Some fans think that is fair. Some fans think it just teaches drivers to keep their mouths shut and let the car do the talking quietly.